Okay, let's talk about affordability. You were at the White House today. Some Democrats might be surprised that you would be there. What were you doing there?
For the last 3 years, I've been working on energy production and energy affordability, and I think they go hand in hand. It's not an either or, it is a both and. And what we have seen over the last 3 years is less production because it's being stopped, or less generation, I should say, because it's being stopped by this entity called PJM, which is the market for 13 states and the District of Columbia. And they keep trying to raise prices on our consumers. I sued PJM to stop them from the price increase that they had hoped to get last year, and I won. And we have been working over the last year with this administration on some principles that would ensure more generation and reduced prices. Look, I was pleased to be able to work with Secretary Burgum and Secretary Wright, two people who, while we disagree on many things, we agree we've got to bring down the prices and generate more power. So myself, Governor Wes Moore of Maryland, Governor Youngkin of Virginia, three of the leading states in that PJM area, worked together with those two secretaries on some principles of reform that we're demanding from PJM. If PJM does what we wish, we'll have more power, which to me means more freedom and more opportunity, and we'll have lower prices because we'll cap what PJM can charge consumers. Look, I think this is a critically important issue. I've been working hard to reduce costs. On my watch as governor of Pennsylvania, we've cut taxes 7 different times to put money back in people's pockets. We've got to do the same when it comes to energy costs.
On the subject of artificial intelligence, and part of the energy drainage is because AI just takes so much energy and power, and that's why people are seeing their bills up across the country. I wonder, more broadly speaking, I mean, there's the threat to our energy consumption. There's also the threat to jobs. Where do you stand on AI? Are you somebody who is all about embracing it or restraining it?
Well, Katie, let's be very clear. There is a race right now for AI development, and that race is really between two parties, the United States and China. We should never cede this ground to China. America needs to win this race. And if you agree with that principle, and then you look across the United States of America, you need to develop the AI technologies, and that requires energy, and that requires the sort of data center 2.0, right? Different types of data centers are going to generate what we need on the AI front. There's really only a handful of states that I think are positioned to be able to house these. Pennsylvania is one of them because we are a net energy exporter. We produce a significant amount of energy. When we work with these companies, we make clear that they've got to pay for what they need. They've got to generate more power. They've got to do it in a way that's not undermining our water quality and not undermining our quality of life for neighbors in those communities. So we work in partnership with these companies, and when we have a company that wants to do something that either undermines our public health or undermines our environmental protection, we're not for that, and that doesn't get off the ground. That project doesn't get off the ground.
More broadly? I mean,
when it comes to
you
jobs,
say we're in an AI arms race with China. I understand that, but there is also the threat of AI to American jobs, from automation at car plants to white-collar workers losing their job. How do you feel about how to both allow AI to grow and to compete in that market, but then also to make sure that it doesn't, send us all into the unemployment line?
Well, Katie, let's first talk about the construction, and then let's talk about the effect. On the construction side, we're employing over 10,000 union building construction trades folks in the 2 projects that we have underway right now with Amazon in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And when all is said and done, there'll be at least a couple thousand people working in these centers. So we are generating jobs. I can tell you from my experiences, I think the first governor in the country to sign an executive order deploying AI tools into the hands of our workforce. We made clear that this was not a job replacer, but a job enhancer. And thanks to those tools that now our employees have in their hands, they're saving on average about 90, 92 minutes every single day, which is allowing them to work on more complex projects in their time. We've not let anyone go. We've not not removed anyone, fired anybody. In fact, we maintain still our roughly 80,000 complement in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. But we've been able to use these tools in a way that have enhanced their jobs and delivered more for our constituents in a quicker way. We went from being the bottom 5 states in the country on permits, meaning the amount of time it takes to issue a permit, to now being literally a national model for permit reform and speed to get those permits. Some AI tools have helped us do that, along with the great personnel we have working in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania on this. So we think it is a job enhancer. We know that it's creating jobs, and we know we can do so in a responsible way where these companies pay for the power they need. They generate new power, which ultimately goes back to the grid and helps all Pennsylvanians, and certainly can be done in a way that protects our planet.
So that's looking into the future a little bit. Let's talk about the present. Unemployment is up in your state, 4.2%. So it's up everywhere. Grocery prices are also up 8% from last year. That's above the national average in Pennsylvania. Home and rental prices are up. How much control do you have as governor over those things?
Well, Katie, I should point out that our unemployment rate in Pennsylvania for 30 straight months has been below the national rate.
That is
true. And that's
true.
because our economy is growing. What you didn't mention is the fact that we have the only economy in the northeastern part of the United States that is growing. All of the other economies are either stable or declining. We've created, on my watch, over 20,000 new jobs that are tied directly to over $35 billion in economic development that we've brought to this Commonwealth. And in about another week or so, we're going to have another major announcement that's going to create lots of jobs and billions of dollars in economic investment. It is clear that we're doing the right things in Pennsylvania, making investments, cutting taxes 7 times on my watch. It is also clear that the Trump policies are making things cost more. The price of beef, the price of bread, the price of some dairy products are up over 20%, in large measure due to the president's failed tariff policies. Our farmers are struggling. Markets are being shut to them, and things that they need to be able to operate their farms, like soybean feed, for example, costs a whole lot more because of the president's tariffs. The White House acknowledged that when they agreed to give a handout to farmers to offset the costs on these farmers from these tariffs. I talked to a lot of farmers. I was talking with them just a couple days ago. They do not want a handout. They just want to simply produce their crops, their dairy, their poultry, you name it, and they want to sell it to more and more markets. Their lives are being made more difficult because of the president's failed economic policy.
You know,
so
I've had those
while we are making progress, the White House is making it far harder for Pennsylvanians to get by.
I've had the same conversations with some farmers who say exactly what you are saying, that they'd like to be able to sell their product. They don't want a handout. So here's a fun question for you, if not also a very serious question. Would you have more control over this as a governor or as the president?
Look, I love serving as governor of Pennsylvania, and that which we can control, I think we're controlling well. I operate in one of the only divided legislatures in the country, and we've been able to make historic investments in public education, public safety, economic development, as we were just talking about, cut taxes 7 times. I've got an $8 billion budget surplus in my state at a time where other states are operating in a deficit. We're showing we know how to get stuff done, and I'm focused on one thing and one thing only, and that is being a great governor of the good people of Pennsylvania.
I guess I'll ask you that question again come January. Governor Shapiro, thank you so much for joining us. Come next January, I should say. Appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you, Katie.